start by getting your math notebook out and open to those multiplication notes. So you should be looking at your multiplication notes that look like this. Okay. We are going to today review arrays as multiplication sentences, okay? We've done a really nice job with arrays as repeated addition, but we really need some practice with this multiplication sentence connection. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. I want you to keep these notes right next to you as a reference because they will be very helpful to you with the vocabulary that we've learned and with looking at an example. Okay, so please keep these out and ready. We're not going to add to them today. We're just going to use them to help us. All righty, awesome. So today we're going to take a look at, again, using arrays to write multiplication sentences. And I think one way that that can be very helpful to us is by taking a look at arrays as groups. So that's what we're going to look at right now, is how do we look at arrays as groups, because that will help us with our multiplication sentence. So allow me to share my screen. There we are. And my sound. Beautiful. So as you know, we're working on our target of representing multiplication by using different models. We are focusing on arrays over the last few days. I made a rhyme. Alrighty, we're going to take a look at how to create arrays into groups that represent repeated addition and multiplication. Okay, now this is a video, and I will let you know that she is from Australia. So her accent is very different to listen to, but it's super fun. So you will notice that this is not my voice nor the teacher of anybody at Indian Creek's voice, but it's some really great information, okay? So let's take a look at how we're going to use arrays to create equal groups.
Today, we are going to look at groups of and multiplication. So what have we been learning so far? We have been learning about arrays. We know that we build arrays in rows and columns, and we use the terms groups of to describe how an array looks. We also know to write a repeated addition sum to show what arrays look like and count their totals. Let's take a look at this array. We have 1, 2, 3 groups, and in each group is 6 stars. We know we have 3 groups. In each group there are 6 stars, so we have 3 groups of 6. If we were to write this as a repeated addition sum, we would write this as 6 plus 6 plus 6 makes a total of 18. So how does all this link into multiplication? Multiplication is the next step. Multiplication is the faster way to do repeated addition. The sign for multiplication is X. What this sign really means is groups of. Let's have a look at how this works in action. This is our array from before. We know that this array has 3 groups of 6. Now remember, the X sign for multiplication really is just saying groups of. So 3 groups of 6 becomes 3 multiplied by 6. 3 groups of 6 equals 18. You can think of the X as a faster way to write groups of. Let's have a look at our repeated addition sum. 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 18. I have 1, 2, 3 6s in my repeated addition sum. So 3 6s equals 18. Here's another one. 1, 2, 3 groups, and in each group is 5. 3 groups of 5 is the same as 5 plus 5 plus 5, which is the same as writing 3 multiplied by 5. All the answers are the same. We get 15. Let's do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of trees, and in each group there are 5 trees. We can say this as 5 groups of 5, 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, or 5 multiplied by 5. The answer will always be 25. You may also hear people say different things when it comes to multiplication. You might hear 5 times 5, 5 by 5, 5 multiplied by 5. It all means the same thing, but it's important you know the different ways that people might say it so you don't get tricked when you're asked a question. Once you know that multiplication is just the quick way of doing groups of, it's easy. Watch the video on the next slide before answering the questions. Enjoy.
Do we have questions about anything that we saw inside of this video? I'm going to forward to some of the examples about why we're going to use the groups to help us with the multiplication. Here's the biggest mistake that I saw. The biggest mistake that I saw was students were saying 6 times 6 because they were so used to writing 6 for the repeated addition that they thought it went in the multiplication as well. It does not. We do not have 6 groups here. We only have 1, 2, 3. So in multiplication, the first number is going to be the number of groups that we have. Okay? Questions on that? Levin.
Oh, I didn't have a question on that part, but I did have a question on math.
Okay.
Are we going to be in breakout rooms doing this together again?
We will get there when we get there, kiddo. I want us focused right now on the current task. All righty. We're going to take a look at this next video because this is the work that we're going to be completing.
Your job today is to show that you understand arrays and can link it to multiplication. You're going to demonstrate several skills on each question. Watch closely so you don't forget to do any of the parts. First step is to circle the groups. So grab your pen and circle how many groups you can see in your array. Your next step is to then write up these groups. So using your typing tool, I have 2 groups of 6. I'm going to move this one over under the groups of. Next, I have to write this as a repeated addition sum. So using my typing tool again, 6. 1 group of 6 plus 1 group of 6 makes 12. And moving it under my addition sum section. And lastly, show it as a multiplication. Now remember, the multiplication sign is just another way of saying groups of. I have 2 groups of 6 and they make 12 all together. And moving this one underneath. So just to remind you, circle your groups first, then show this sum as groups of, repeated addition, and multiplication to finish.
Questions on that? Questions on any of the correct answers on your video here? Questions on why there's not a 2 in the repeated addition or why there's only 1 6 in multiplication? Any questions on that? Okay. We're going to work on this together today because we had so much confusion yesterday. So I'm going to ask you to do the same thing that we did in reading today. Minimize this so that you can see your seesaw work and so that you can see Zoom at the same time. So again, on Seesaw, this is in your activities right here as arrays as equal groups in multiplication. Arrays as equal groups in multiplication. Go ahead and add a response to this activity. As you're doing that, I'm going to read the directions. We already watched the video on arrays and groups of, so we're going to add the response. The videos on 1 and 2 are what we just looked at together. If you'd like to look at them again on your own later, that's fine, but we've done this already. We're getting ready to work on step 2. Answer the questions on slides 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. There are multiple steps to each question. Make sure you do them all. Watch the video cartoon on the last page to consolidate your learning and press the check to submit your work. Okay, so we're going to add this response and I want us to work through these together. As we are working, if there is a question about something that is confusing, something that you need more information about, please let me know so that we can discuss that. Great. Okay, taking a look at slide 3. Our first step is to circle the group. So go ahead and grab your pen, put your favorite color on there, and we're going to circle our rows going straight across. This is one. This is another one. This is another one. And this is another one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups. We can see that inside of each group are 2 apples. 1, 2, inside of each group. So with our label tool, we're going to label this as 4 groups of 2. We have 4 groups, 4 rows, and there are 2 in each item. I'm looking at your screens and some of you are telling me that there are 2 groups. That is backwards. We have 4 groups, 4 items going straight across, and then we have 2 in each one of those rows or groups. So we have 4 groups of 2. We do not have 2 groups of 4. For repeated addition, we are going to add each group. This group has 2, this group has 2, this group has 2, and this group has 2. So we are going to label that as 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. We can see that there are 4 2s in our repeated addition because we have a group of 2 on top, a group of 2 in the top middle, a group of 2 in the bottom middle, and a group of 2 at the bottom. If we were to count all of these apples, we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the answer is 8. What questions can I answer about this so far? This is what we did really well. We all got this yesterday really well. I want to make sure there's not any remaining questions. Okay, here's where the confusion came in. Our multiplication equation is going to be exactly the same as our groups. 4 comes first. There are 4 groups of 2. So when we write that, we are going to write 4, and our multiplication symbol is just an X, so you can use the X key. 4 times 2. Here's where another very large confusion was. The answer to your repeated addition sentence is the same as your answer to the multiplication sentence. If they are ever different, you made a mistake. These number sentences describe this picture. So it doesn't make sense if we were to say one time the picture has 8 apples and another time it has a different amount. The answer is the same. I'd like for you to notice the order of our numbers with our groups and our multiplication. 4 groups, so we put the 4 first. Groups of 2, so 2 goes next. It follows the same order. We have 4 groups of 2. We can see that in the repeated addition because we have 2, 2, 2, 2, 4 twos. Okay? What questions can I answer about this? Maximize my Zoom again. Okay. I'd like to do another one together. So let's take a look at slide 4. Go ahead and move to slide 4. First step is to circle our groups. I'm going to get my pen ready. I'm going to circle straight across. There is one group. Here is a second group. Here is a third group. I have 1, 2, 3 groups. Inside of my groups are 1, 2, 3 hearts. So this time my numbers are the same. I have 3 groups of 3. It will not always be the same, but in this example, it is. You'll notice the array makes a square. Now we're going to use the label tool to add the repeated addition sentence. Our first group has 3 hearts. Our second group has 3 hearts. Our third group has 3 hearts. If we were to count all of the hearts, we would have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 hearts. So I would put a 9 as my answer. Now we're going to create the multiplication equation. And as we noticed, there are 3 groups and 3 items in each group. So that tells me that my numbers in my multiplication sentence are going to be the same. Again, you will notice they follow the same order. 3, 3, groups of 3, 3. My answer will be the same. This picture did not change. There are not now magically more hearts or magically less hearts. Here's what a lot of you were doing yesterday. A lot of you were saying that 3 times 3 equals 6 because you were making a mistake that this was a plus sign. It is not a plus sign. It is a multiplication sign. And that should have been very obvious to you because we can see that there are clearly more than 6 hearts here. You cannot tell me that there are 6 hearts here. It is a fact that there are more than 6 hearts because I can count all 9. So your answer to your repeated addition sentence and your multiplication sentence should not change because the picture does not change. Can I answer questions about that? Okay, we're going to do one more together. I'd like for us to look at number 5. Go to slide number 5, please. We're going to do the same steps. First step is to circle the groups. Going straight across, I have one group, a second group, a third group, a fourth group, a fifth group, and a sixth group. If there is a sixth group, that means I have 6 groups. I can prove that by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. There are 3 rainbows in each group. 1, 2, 3. That tells me that I have 6 groups of 3. I'm looking at some of your screens and I'm noticing that you are not circling the groups. Several of you are circling the whole picture on its own like this. That does not help you. You need to circle each individual row or group. Terrence, you are circling columns. We are not circling columns. We are circling groups. Please do exactly as I am doing. Okay. Our repeated addition sentence is going to be how many items are in each group, the same number of groups we have. So we have 3 in each group, and we have 6 threes. 2 threes, 3 threes, 4 threes, 5 threes, 6 threes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 threes. I don't know what 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals, but I do know how to count. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, I have 18 rainbows. So I know that 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals 18. Again, my picture did not change, so my multiplication sentence has to have the exact same answer. I also know that the multiplication sign is the same thing as saying groups of. I have 6 groups, so 6 is the first number in my multiplication equation. I have 3 things in each group, so 3 is the second number in my multiplication equation. And the answer is the same because this picture shows 18 rainbows. Again, yesterday, a lot of you thought that this was 6 plus 3, and you told me that it equals 9. That makes no sense because there are obviously more than 9 rainbows here. Your answer should always match the picture. What questions can I answer about repeated addition and multiplication equations using arrays? What questions can I answer? Okay. I want to see if this lesson helped you. So today you are going to finish slide 6 and slide 7 on your own. Slide 6 and slide 7 are the two that I will be looking at to see if you understand multiplication with arrays. Okay? The directions asked you to watch the cartoon on the last page to consolidate your learning. You have seen this cartoon before. It's the cartoon I assigned on Monday. I would like for you to watch it again because it gives you a lot of different strategies that are good exposure. Okay, so please watch this again. On slide 9, you are going to rate yourself by dragging the emoji that best describes your feelings about the work you did on slides 6 and 7. So when you are thinking about slides 6 and 7, did you feel very successful? Do you feel that you need more practice? Do you feel that you really struggled? Okay, you're going to grade yourself on equal groups and arrays. Are you successful? Do you need more practice, or did you really struggle? Okay. Questions on the assignment expectation? Questions on what I am asking you to do?